Now, I could have swore that Pumpkin was bigger last week. Oh, hello. Welcome to week 2 of Zilloween 2014. Now, this week I was going to do a general's thinking that was sort of opposite of what I did last year about the increase of horror genre and how it's actually coming back. But the more I thought about it, the more I think that maybe it's too soon to say that the horror genre is actually back. The only game out right now that I sort of announced last year was Evil Within. And while it's a blast, I think the overall comeback of the horror franchise depends on some others that are coming out, like PT, or Silent Hills, as it's actually called. So, what are we going to do this week? Well, it's our first ever movie review. So, what movie are we going to watch? Well, what better than a reboot of one of my favorite franchises of all time, Leprechaun Origins. The original movie series is one of my favorites. It's absolutely fun and fully aware of what it is, making it completely enjoyable. You can't really make a leprechaun truly frightening, so what do you do when you want to make a truly scary horror movie for it? Well, you dress someone up in terrible leathery makeup and make them look like a mutated hairless monkey that kills people and call it a leprechaun. Well, that sounds a bit dumb, doesn't it? Well, the fact is, it's what they fucking did! Really, I should have known not to anticipate much when WWE Studios acquired the rights a few years ago. They've had a few hits and misses, but mostly just misses. Now, I understand that when you reboot something, you want to redo it. But even some of the recent horror movie reboots like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, those still stayed true to the original franchise. This is a complete massacre of what made Leprechaun great. The film starts off showing a couple running through the woods trying to reach a stone that will protect them from the leprechaun. But this is a prologue, so they'll both just die. Cut to our main cast that is on their way to a village to see some ancient stones that are tied to Celtic origins. They get dropped off on the outskirts because the driver refuses to go into town, being greeted by this intimidating dwarf that you will never see again for some reason. So obviously that means we should continue, despite the guy that knows the land and the history bailed out before even reaching the city limits. I mean, come on! Easy, Zilla. The moment we start nitpicking the intelligence of horror characters, there's no turning back. They go to a local pub and grab a pint to talk about stuff. I really didn't pay attention to this. This was so boring. A local patron overhears their conversation and tells them that he can show them how to find the real history of the area. So they agree and get taken to a nice cabin up in the mountains. But surprise, surprise, the locals aren't legit and they lock tourists into these cabins as an offering to the leprechaun, and hijinks ensue accordingly. So one thing you can pick up on pretty quickly is that the whole tone of the movie is really serious, which is not something you do in a Leprechaun movie. Why? Because it's a fucking leprechaun! But hey, turn it into Gollum's unwanted abortion, and it's time for some grade A horror! The film goes a surprisingly long time without killing a main cast member, thanks to following a very strict formula of being cornered by the leprechaun, escaping the leprechaun, being cornered by villagers, escaping the villagers, and right back to being cornered by the leprechaun, and of course, escaping the leprechaun. Nothing happens in this film for a really long time. There's only like 5 minutes of the characters discovering what the leprechaun is, and why the villagers have to make human sacrifices to keep him out of the town. There's one conflicted villager that could very easily play the role as the unexpected hero, but all he does other than buy the main cast members a few seconds to escape is complain and tell his dad how they should just let them go. At one point you think the kids are gonna escape, but wait a minute, all 4 of them are still alive. Can't have that. Proceed to killing off all but one character in the last 15 minutes of the movie! Seriously, it's like the movie forgot it was a slasher for like 40 minutes. A villager dies, but that's about it. So we cut to the last 5 minutes where the movie has become a carbon copy of the prologue. Seriously, the movie can't even end on an original note? Where the male love interest dies and the woman is all alone running for the stones when she gets an epiphany. Instead of safely escape, I should just kill this thing. And good for her, she does. But not without saying that line we all know and love from the original.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms!
I didn't see that. Tell me I did not just see that. I've lost all hope. This movie sucks! The original Leprechaun worked because it was exactly what it said it was. A wisecracking, rhyme-spewing, fun-loving, psychotic leprechaun killing people so he could get his gold back. Here, it's just a hairless thing killing people, with gold not even being a real priority. The original series made the Leprechaun out to be almost as a punisher of greed, and teaching everybody that all-powerful lesson.
And you're a greedy thief. For trying to steal me gold, I'll be giving you some grief.
So, there you have it. A terrible movie for what was a fun series. If there's one thing to gather from this movie, however, it's a very fine lesson in how not to do a reboot. You never throw out the heart of what made an original great. That's what you're building off of. You modernize and you improve. Leprechaun Origins just managed to make itself look like an ass. It's garbage. Just don't waste your time. It's not even worth watching for the novelty. Dismissed.
Oh, shit!
A little token of my esteem. It is exactly what it seems. Made fresh daily at exactly 9 o'clock. It comes from my shillelagh. You can keep it in a crock. Those dirty sons of bitches.